Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
Is a quickly changing technical landscape a reasonable excuse for government agencies to not provide regulatory clarity to crypto markets? So to phrase it another way, do you believe that it's reasonable for any government agency to not have sufficient policy surrounding crypto purely because the technology is changing quickly? Does that make sense, or does that not make sense? Well, attorney Jake Chervinsky, who is very popular within the crypto space, seems to hold that position. The position that things are changing so quickly that how can you have a policy? Oh my God, the technology, how are you going to keep up with it? And I mostly disagree, and I respectfully disagree, of course. Nothing against him on a personal level, just to be perfectly clear. But he's gotten a massive following. Here you can see him on Twitter, 98,500 followers. He's just one of these go-to guys that crypto media runs to when they want perspective on various legal matters having to do with crypto. And he's fine. And so he happens to not be a fan of Ripple from what I've gathered anyway, not a fan of XRP, but that's okay. I believe that he's being generally intellectually honest, so that's why I was just trying to be super duper clear so that nobody takes this the wrong way, because I'm going to challenge his ideas and push back a little bit, but definitely nothing personal. Seems like a sharp dude, and he's never like trollish or rude or anything like that to anybody in the XRP community, not that I've seen anyway. I just happen to disagree with him. And also, Attorney John Deaton points out that the circumstance surrounding the SEC attacking Ripple, these circumstances have never occurred in the entirety of the history of the agency. And he points this out in a new thread from just within the last several days or so. And he also points out that it's, quote, juvenile and short-sighted, end quote, if organizations in crypto are remaining silent on the Ripple case for tribal reasons. So plenty to discuss, but before going further, I do want to be clear at the outset. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. So here's what attorney Jake Chervinsky had to say on this topic. He wrote, "Most crypto policy issues are complicated by how fast the tech is growing and changing. It's hard to craft specific solutions with any confidence they'll make sense in a few years. The best thing regulators can do now is go after the actual bad actors, the frauds and scammers. The amazing thing about crypto, unlike the traditional financial system, is that frauds and scams are transparent and observable by everyone. We see them happening in real time. Within hours, the crypto community does investigations that would take law enforcement years, and for free. Nobody hates crypto scammers more than us. Nobody who cares about this tech wants to see criminals use it to get away with defrauding victims. There's nothing we'd like more than for regulators to protect investors by getting the bad guys. I wish more resources went to this." Yeah, and look, I do, like, as upset as I am with the SEC, because I think it's a disgusting organization that is actually harming the investors that they're sworn to protect. Despite that, it's not that no good is done. Sometimes you do see them actually protecting investors, going after fraudsters and people that are running actual Ponzi schemes and stuff like that. We can all applaud those things, and I'm also not making the claim that literally everybody at the SEC is bad. It's just that it seems to be a very rotten organization, because the highest ranking officials, even as the revolving door rotates and people come and go, like the people in the highest positions seem to be acting in highly questionable ways, and they're behaving in ways that seem to inevitably personally benefit them. How curious is that, right? And so I just here's my stance on this, in particular as it pertains to what's going on in the crypto space as far as what is or is not a security. I'm mostly thinking, admittedly, I'm mostly thinking about that when we're talking about this. Look, there's 4 prongs to the Howey test, right? One of them being, is there a common enterprise? Well, if something's sufficiently decentralized, then there is no common enterprise. The SEC won't cite what it means for something to be sufficiently decentralized so that it would not be a common enterprise. And that would determine whether or not a cryptocurrency is or is not a security. And so I've seen all sorts of people, including former SEC Commissioner Robert Jackson, he stated in a couple things. He's pointed to the Bill Hinman Ethereum free pass speech as market guidance. That's not cool. Because it's just Bill Hinman's opinion, right? But he's also stated, and this is a former SEC chair, and he was saying this when he, not chair, commissioner, but when he was a commissioner, he was publicly stating that the technology is changing too fast. And by the time, even if we propose some sort of law change or this or that, by the time it was passed, then there would have been some sort of shit. I'm just thinking, no, you don't need to take a hammer to the entire system. If you could just determine or define what it is to be decentralized, you're like 90% of the way there. You know, you're pretty well there. And so my stance here is that if you're saying, no, I can't do this, as in I can't provide clarity for the space, that's you saying, I can't do the job that I'm paid to do. Well, get the hell out of there. You should be fired by somebody above you. But if that's not going to happen, like there should be tremendous outcry from the public. Like, you're literally publicly stating, no, Jeff's too hard, can't do it, sorry guys. No, that is not acceptable. Get the hell out of the way. There is a path forward. Don't you dare tell me that it's impossible to provide market clarity. And so that's why I respectfully disagree with Jake Chervinsky. And if there's some sort of scenario that I perhaps haven't thought of, in which case there is something changing so fast, unrelated to whether or not something is a security, a completely different topic, other than whether or not something is or is a security, maybe I could find some commonality there, but he didn't cite specifically what that might be. So right now, I just say, I just disagree. I'm not getting down with people who are tasked with a specific job saying, no, it's too hard, I can't do it. No, I'm not okay with that. And that's harming people that are operating the space. So the answer is no. And so Attorney John Deaton retweeted that thread from Jake Chervinsky, and he wrote the following. And John did seem to agree somewhat with Jake here. Here's how he worded it. He wrote, first, let me say I agree with Jake. The number one concern for regulators should be protecting investors from fraud, misrepresentation, pump and dump schemes, and flat out scams. And so to be clear there, I'm not 100% sure what he's saying he agrees with. Maybe John agrees only with the portion that is go after the fraudsters, the people who are misrepresenting, the pumper and dumper guys. I'm not completely sure on whether or not he agrees that the space is too complicated. I'm just sharing with you my everyday Joe Schmo opinion here, which is that the space is not too complicated to have a policy that everyone can easily understand. I do not believe it to be the case that it's too complicated and changing too fast for that to happen. I just don't. And so again, I'm not sure what John Deaton's stance on that is, and even if he disagrees with me, he's still the man. It doesn't matter. Like, I just think it's fun to talk about this stuff is all. Anyway, John Deaton continues, and he wrote, but there's also the question of who's regulating the regulator. The best thing the SEC can do is clean its own house and restore the public's confidence. Over 63,000 XRP holders with 2,000 non-XRP holders seek an independent investigation into the gross appearances of impropriety and huge conflicts of interest regarding the case against XRP. I recently started a petition for international XRP holders requesting the Financial Oversight Committee's demand an investigation. In 2 weeks, we already have 20,000 signatures. Before anyone attempts to label me and my 65,000 friends conspiracy theorists, read the Grunfest letter. I fought the SEC for 9 months pursuant to a FOIA request, that's Freedom of Information Act request. I've attached it for your convenience. As you read the letter from former SEC Commissioner Joe Grunfest, you should be aware he's one of the most respected commissioners in SEC history. He had a fireside chat with Clayton. He teaches law at Stanford. Some may try to minimize his input because he's an unpaid advisor to Ripple in the lawsuit. Yet, he's the perfect person to listen to because he served as an advisor for Ether investors and acted as their liaison with the SEC. Grunfest recognized XRP was traded openly and publicly for over 7 years, and since no fraud was alleged, there existed no exigency to bring an immediate case. Grunfest observed all the senior leadership at the SEC behind the filing of the case was gone or leaving the SEC. He stated the mass exodus raised obvious concerns considering it had never occurred during the SEC's history. Well, you understand, let the gravity of that sink in. What happened here has never happened in the entire history of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Never, and it happened right here. Mass exodus, high-ranking officials at the SEC leaving, and then just the incoming individuals, they're now taking over. This is weird. This is weird stuff. Anyway, John continues. Something else never occurred as well. Grundfest stated the economic losses to innocent investors would be higher than in any other non-fraud case in history. And he was right. Most telling, Grundfest stated if the SEC brought a case claiming XRP a security while leaving Ethereum untouched, it would call into question the Commission's use of discretion. In short, Grundfest, who helped Ether investors, questioned the motive behind the suit. I 100% agree regulators should focus on fraud and misrepresentation, regardless of what anyone thinks of Ripple or Brad Garlinghouse. After a 2.5-year investigation, the SEC didn't allege a single count of fraud or misrepresentation. Exactly, and shouldn't that matter? And don't forget too, the SEC, when they filed the initial legal complaint in December of 2020, they used language that you would expect to find in fraud cases. But this isn't a fraud case. There is no fraud. It's literally not a fraud case. And all these points that were brought up, which have nothing to do, literally nothing to do with whether or not XRP is or is not a security. No, it's just bizarre behavior. And why did they do that? Well, we can only speculate, but probably part of it was just to, rile up sentiment within anybody that's negative sentiment within anybody that's reading that, whether the target was the judge or potential jury or just the general public. I'll tell you what, it certainly, especially in the early days, worked on the general public. There are all sorts of people in the XRP community who were really disgusted. They went from being fans of Ripple to being disgusted by Ripple and some of the executives. And I'm sitting there reading this like, folks, they're just using harsh language and twisting, like they're literally just absolutely messing with you. And all of this information that was in there as far as sales and this and that, pretty much all of it, like I had talked about on my channel, and I was aware of the sales of XRP by Brad Garlinghouse, for example. The previous summer before the lawsuit, I made a video where I talked about it. It wasn't some sort of secret. And my stance is that if somebody owns an asset and they want to sell it, they can sell it. I don't care. They don't owe me a damn thing. They can sell XRP to their heart's content. I frankly just don't give a damn. And then there was this from John Deaton also. I've stated from the beginning, had the SEC charged Ripple with for specific sales of XRP during early years, I would have never sued the SEC. But it did the opposite and even went further, claiming today's secondary market sales are also illegal. Yet the Blockchain Association is quiet. Why? Let's just pause. The Blockchain Association, they're basically freedom fighters for the crypto space. That's what they're. Here you can see how they describe themselves. The unified. This is their Twitter profile. The unified voice of the crypto industry. The industry is hiring, and so they always push back against injustices within the space, including from a regulatory perspective. And then you've got the biggest case in all of crypto, the SEC versus Ripple case. Where the hell are they on that? They're completely quiet. Why might that be? Well, John Deaton continues. To be fair, I haven't reached out and asked for any help or assistance. Since others are questioning why some haven't offered support, I can only speculate that it's because I've called out and brought attention to the Ethereum Free Pass, which, if true, is both juvenile and short-sighted. Juvenile and short-sighted. That's a quote, folks, and he's right. The SEC is claiming because Ripple was instrumental in creating a secondary market for XRP, all XRP are therefore securities. If successful, the same thing could be argued versus Vitalik Buterin, Joseph Lubin, Consensus, etc. Vitalik was able to halt the trading of Ethereum for Christ's sake, albeit with honorable intentions. I don't blame Ethereum promoters for lobbying for forbearance. They shouldn't, although I would have lost the arrogance and hypocrisy. But today the enemy is not each other, it's the SEC. Exactly. And so still, you have these individuals within the space that despise XRP so much, they can't bring themselves to support the number of individuals, Ripple, Bragg Island House, Chris Larson, but then broadly XRP holders. They can't bring themselves to do it, even though it would be to their benefit since they're operating in the crypto realm. Because again, if this doesn't go well for Ripple, everyone in the United States is basically screwed because of XRP as a security, so is everything else.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.